This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. I don't know about you, but I am sick to death of Meghan and Harry. However, we must continue to keep bringing to the forefront all the lies that Meghan and Harry have been telling, because what they are doing essentially is trying to rewrite history. And I'm sorry, but all the hell that they have put people through, particularly their families, and just want to sweep it under the rug, is not going to fly. So in today's video, I want to talk about a couple of things from this ITV documentary that needs to be put on blast. So get comfortable, and before we get started, if you could help the kid out, please don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help, and I so appreciate it. Let's get into it. The clip that we're going to focus on is this one.
I know that it is clear now to everybody that the risk of taking on the press and the risk of such retaliation from them by taking these claims forward, it's clearly not in my interest to do that. Look at what has happened in the last 4 years to me, my wife, and my family, right? So that was a very hard decision for me to make, which is how bad is it going to get?
Some people would say that you know, you taking on these high-profile battles, but that actually attracts more attention onto you.
There is more than enough attention on me and my wife anyway. They pushed me too far. It got to a point where you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I don't think there's anybody else in the world that is better suited and placed to be able to see this through than myself. It's still dangerous, and all it takes is one lone actor, one person who reads this stuff to act on what they have read. And whether it's a knife or acid, whatever it is, and these are things that are a genuine concern for me. It's one of the reasons why I won't bring my wife back to this country.
Over the last 24 hours, I've been observing everyone's reaction and opinions about things that Harry said in this ITV interview. The majority of you agree this was pure propaganda to help not only the lawsuit against a newspaper, but also part of a campaign to subvert and influence public opinion, as well as persuade subconsciously the court system that is deliberating over Harry's security case. It's almost like clockwork. The annual campaign around why Meghan needs to be protected and get their security back has begun with this heavy emphasis on just this part that I just showed you of the documentary. All the Sussex propaganda that we are seeing, for the most part, is focused on this one particular clip. Who could forget this fake car chase in New York City last year and all the propaganda that was surrounding it? Lo and behold, this so-called incident ended up in Harry's court case, and we found out about that as a result of the judgment that came down. Not to go off topic too much, but I just want to update and say that, remember, I had followed up with the NYPD and opened a FOIL case pertaining to the authenticity of the letter that was so-called submitted in Harry's court documents? Just to refresh everybody's memory, this was the letter that the Sussex PR machine had leaked to their propaganda outlets. I believe the Daily Beast was the one to get this first. Well, getting back to this FOIL case, I had submitted the request to get a copy of this document directly from the NYPD in order to validate the Sussex PR propaganda's authenticity. Now, I had opened up this case back in March of this year, and they gave me an estimated time around or about Monday, July 15, 2024. So throughout this process, I had been requesting for an update, and it wasn't until July 11th that I received a response back. They're still looking for these documents, and now I have to wait for an answer on or before October 8th, 2024. Now, if you count the months, that's 7 months for them to look for a copy of this letter. Now, if they were able to give it to Meghan and Harry for his court case, you would think that it would be in a system somewhere, right? The whole reason of opening up this FOIL case was because when I looked at the letter, it looked totally fugazi. Keep in mind, there was question surrounding the guy who signed off on this letter because during the time, he was not in this particular position. Now, there's rumors flying around that someone got paid off to write this letter. I don't know how true it is, but I wouldn't be surprised. These two idiots probably thought that nobody is ever going to find out that we're submitting this letter, and the court system in the UK are not going to go follow up with the NYPD to find out whether or not this evidence that's supposed to be truthful is authentic. Of course, they're giving this couple the benefit of the doubt, but they have proven time and time again to be dishonest and deceitful. So would it surprise me that they submitted this thinking that nobody's going to find out and this is just going to help our case? Absolutely. Did they anticipate the justice disclosing that this letter exists? No. So now we have a situation where the NYPD is struggling to find this document. I do know that there is someone else who also opened up a FOIL case and they got a response back indicating that there were no records found. So is this going to be a similar case come October? I'm feeling yes, that might be the case. So what do we do? I know that the U.S. taxpayers are not going to be happy if we have to go ahead and pay for this guy's security, but there's nothing we can do if the UK court system and everybody at the Met agrees that he should get his IPP status back. So this is really going to depend on support from the UK people to reach out to whoever the lawyer is that is defending Rayvac as well as the government in pushing back and not giving these resources to these two deceitful, manipulative liars. I think it's important that this evidence that was submitted be validated because clearly there's a problem here. But in any case, circling back here to the original point of this video is that what we're seeing with this ITV documentary and how it's being used as a tool to subvert and persuade the public opinion as well as potentially the court system is why it was important to bring up the New York car chase and what is going on there. So you can see now more of this same type of manipulation.
I'm doing this for my reasons.
Now, I didn't say it at the time in my original review, but when we're looking at this from a security perspective, Harry's reasons are for his security and getting this IPP status back. This is not so much about getting protected in the UK. This is about getting back this immunity and the access to intelligence.
All it takes is one lone actor, one person who reads this stuff to act on what they have read. And whether it's a knife or acid, whatever it is.
So here's where Harry's feet needs to be held to the fire. He doesn't actually believe what he's saying here, but he's saying it to keep this narrative going. It only takes one lone person to read something. Well, what does that say about Harry in his book Spare? These are his words. Is he going to now blame the ghostwriter for writing it? And then we hear the excuse, well, I never said that. It was the ghostwriter who wrote it under his creative license. These two jerk-offs never want to take any type of accountability for the things that they said, which includes what was said in this book. So Harry may say, well, the tabloids, write this type of stuff and it could trigger someone with acid. When you read this, if you were of the Islam faith or had connections to the Taliban and followed that culture, you would be pretty pissed off reading this in hearing how Harry looked at these people like chess pieces that had to be removed with no empathy, removing any kind of emotion for just destroying human life. That shows you that this man is a total psychopath. And what's so sick and demented about these two is that they are doing this on purpose, almost provoking for something to happen. Harry doesn't believe that he's in any kind of danger or threat. Look at the duper's delight on his face when he says this.
To act on what they have read, and whether it's a nice hole.
Does this duper's delight not give you chills? Here he is talking about something so serious, such as being knifed or acid getting thrown on you. If you're truly worried about your family and that happening to them, your face is not going to be smirking. The other thing that I feel that's really sinister about this guy is that he shows no empathy for his family in this interview. So when you look at this, it almost feels as if he's thinking about these things happening to his own family, which I think is sick. Let's all not forget that in the book Spare, he also wrote about the thoughts of killing his father. So, it's not a far stretch. Add that to the rumor that someone overheard Meghan saying, "Oh, we're only one plane crash away from the throne." In my opinion, Harry and Meghan are the real security threat. And heaven help us if these two end up getting back this status and are immune as well as access to intelligence that they should not have as regular private citizens. When you look back when Meghan and Harry had this status, they abused their privileges by using the access to intelligence to go after people. Now, follow me here. Over the last 4 years, we have been witness to the growing amount of jealousy and envy that these two have. And we all know that Meghan would rather see the monarchy burn down than Catherine and William take the throne. And this stupid fool is going along for the ride to a point where I do think that he would kill for Meghan. And this is why their access to intelligence is so dangerous. Hypothetically speaking, the only thing that's in the way of Harry and Meghan becoming king and queen are the Waleses. Think about that. Now think about them getting back their status and access to intelligence to where it's possible they could know the whereabouts and movements of the Waleses family. And also think about those anti-monarchists who live and die for Harry and Meghan and who would kill for them. Or also think about the people that would pay them for information to go ahead and do whatever, like an acid attack. The sick thing is that Meghan is so jealous of Catherine's beauty that she would actually take pleasure in seeing an acid attack on the beloved Princess of Wales. So that's why we need to say prayers for this family. We're truly dealing with the devil here, in my opinion. I do not put it past Harry and Meghan to be thinking in this path because we see that they already went there. Meghan already went there with this one plane crash away from the throne, allegedly. But in any case, these two could be very dangerous. Which brings me to the next topic, and this is regarding a post that I saw on St. Meghan Markle by Secondhand Coke, which I thought was thought-provoking and wanted to give it some consideration. Please keep in mind that this is all food for thought. There is no evidence or proof to some of the claims being made in this post. Please keep in mind that this is just opinion and speculation. Secondhand Coke writes, I made a couple of comments about this and decided just to post. I'm interested in what you all think about whether or not there could be some veracity to the rumors and conjecture below. Harry made this big statement about why Meghan can't go back to the UK, even claiming that she'd be at risk for having acid thrown on her or a knife pulled on her. Notice that he doesn't specify his own danger or potential danger to their kids. In fact, as we know, Harry just went to the UK while Meghan waited at Heathrow to fly to Nigeria, a country that is much less stable as far as safety is concerned. And we know Meghan didn't fear acid being thrown on her in Nigeria, what with her walking around practically naked the whole time. This is to say nothing about the fact that they live in LA, in the US, where guns probably outnumber AirPods. So I've heard rumors and speculation, and I've speculated myself that there is a reason why Meghan will never be in the UK again. And it does have to do with security, but not hers and Harry's security. It has to do with the royal family's security. We personally have observed aggressive behavior at the funeral and in footage from the Harry and Meghan documentary. This behavior included having Netflix drone cameras filming the family in mourning, coming down a back staircase while Meghan looked evilly out the window directly into the camera, the nasty look and lecture she gave the aide who was insisting that she turn over flowers at the walkabout, whatever she said that earned her the evil eye from Catherine, her grabbing Catherine's hand as they were seated in the cathedral, and the notably close eye that Camilla, Catherine, and Sophie kept on the three Wales's children, ensuring that they were surrounded and away from Meghan at all times. That's just what we saw. There are rumors that even more egregious and aggressive behavior happened behind closed doors that really concerned RPOs about the King's, the Princess of Wales, and the Wales's children's safety in Meghan's presence. The ultimate result was that the powers that be convened, and not long after the funeral, Harry and Meghan were told to vacate Frogmore, and that from that point on, Meghan was considered a fixated person, and that she was no longer allowed within a large perimeter. many miles of king and queen and the Waleses family. Basically, they put a restraining order against her. I'm not sure if RPOs and MI5 can say she's not allowed back on the country. And given that she was at Heathrow, I'm not sure if airports count as in-country, but I think the reality is she'll never be seen within miles of the working royals again. And the reason why she won't be seen in the UK is because the royals have banned her being there or being within a large proximity of them. Could it be that Harry is having to go so hard on this Meghan's not safe angle as a classic narcissistic Darvo to explain away why Meghan will never be seen there again rather than have the truth about why she's really not there to come out? We can see in the press how obsessed she is with Catherine. Her taking pictures in private areas of royal residences is confirmed, not only by what we saw in the schlockumentary, but also in the story about her photographing Princess Charlotte sleeping. If she's shamelessly done all this creepy stuff for the world to see, what more has she done in private? Your thoughts? Right off the bat, Secondhand Cook makes a great observation. Harry didn't say my children or my wife, he just said Meghan. And that shows you where his head is at. I don't really think he believes that he's in jeopardy or danger of those things happening. This is part of the campaign, in my opinion. Yeah, I think it's obvious that Meghan is a threat to the royal family as well as the Waleses, but not in a power sense, more so in the safety sense. And I would also include Harry in on that as well. It might be that Meghan is banned from the UK, but doesn't mean that she's banned from other countries. Now, who's to say that this stalker wouldn't want to go show up somewhere where the royal family is in some Commonwealth country? I could honestly see her doing that. Make no mistake about it, but the royal family definitely have people watching Meghan and Harry here in the United States and reporting back to them. We know that the Queen did it with Wallis and Edward, and they weren't half as bad as these two, so no doubt the King has his finger on the pulse there. If not the King, then definitely William. I think another part to this of Meghan and Harry wanting the security back is also to see what the royal family knows about them and what they have been doing.
I think everything that's played out has shown people what the truth of the matter is.
I don't know how he could say this with a straight face, but I guess if you tell a lie often enough, it becomes your reality. And I guess he truly does believe that this now has morphed into it being all the media's fault. When you look at the effort that Meghan and Harry have been giving the last 4 years to get this security status back, you have to wonder, is it just about being safe? Or is there something more to this? As is, whenever Harry goes over to the UK, he gets the proper security needed. Does anyone really think that the King would allow his son as well as his grandchildren to go unprotected anytime he decides to go over to the UK? No, absolutely not. In my opinion, I think it has something to do with protecting him and these other bells and whistles that come along with having this status. But for the most part, I do think that there's something going on with the financials that's fugazi. I also think that he wants this intelligence to use and weaponize. I also think that possibly he could have pissed some people off and now owes money. That's a possibility. As well as we all know that they enjoy considering themselves higher and better than everybody in society. So this status symbol of having motorcades and looking so presidential is what they're after. But what are your thoughts? Definitely share them below. As always, I will be back with more content. But until then, please be safe and I'll talk to you later. Bye!
I was such a fraud.